I'm with Michele Cantoni from the Amwaj Children's Choir. When was the choir started?
The choir started in 2015. Actually, it started in Hebron with about 30 children in Hebron in the summer of 2015, and then a couple of months later in Bethlehem as well, another group of 30 children. And the choir is called Amwaj, which means waves in Arabic.
And why was the choir started?
It was mainly the decision of my wife, who is a musician and a professor at the Paris Conservatoire, who has taught in Palestine for a year at the Edward Said National Conservatory of Music, where I was working at the time as well in 2013-14. And she became a musician, and a very successful one, because of her growing up in a choir school herself when she was a child. So she always felt that was probably the best way to approach music from the beginning for children. And here in Palestine, both her and I, we have noticed that all the music schools, they tend to have a sort of, they do a very good job, but they have a sort of obsessive approach of individual tuition of musical instruments, which makes life much more difficult than actually discovering music by being in a group of 30 children or 60 children, always together for many hours a week, and just discovering things and music together and learning without the difficulties of an instrument.
And what sort of age range is the choir?
So we wanted to start with children between 8 and 12, and then very quickly, in a few weeks, the age range expanded because of little sisters, older brothers wanting to join and so on. So now we have these 60 children, and the age range is 7 to 17.
And you're doing a choir, one in Hebron and one here in Bethlehem?
Technically it's the same choir because we do most concerts together and so on, but the classes are separate. So every week the teachers go for 8 hours in Hebron and 8 hours in Bethlehem, and then maybe once a month the two choirs are joined together. So the Amwaj Choir is actually Bethlehem and Hebron. It's the two together. Yeah.
And what kind of music do you perform?
All sorts of repertoires, and in all sorts of languages. I mean, there is usually a proportion which is in favor of Arabic repertoire, but the children sing in 22 different languages already, 25 different languages. So let's say if we have 10 languages in a program, one of them is Arabic, and there will be more songs in Arabic than in any other language alone.
Do the children get the chance to travel abroad?
So we managed through our artistic partnerships with international artists, in particular with a children's choir in France, which is of an amazing level, from a cathedral in Lyon, the Petit Chanteur de Lyon. We managed to get the interest of people abroad, in particular in France, because we have many connections there. And so also due to the intensive tuition, the intensive character of the pedagogy of Amwaj, already after 3 years, so in the summer of 2018, we were able to tour France and to sing in the most amazing halls in France, like the Philharmonie in Paris, and yeah, it was the first time the kids left the country, and definitely not the last.
Yeah. Do you also invite other choirs to come here?
Yes, absolutely. And this was really something which we were very happy about. It was to have, in the summer of 2017, 30 children aged, I think, 10 to 13 from Lyon come to Palestine to stay in the families of our kids and so on, which is, I think, the first time it actually happens, because choirs of children have come to Palestine in the past, but usually they were staying in Jerusalem and maybe just performing in Jerusalem and so on, and not interacting with local musicians, local children. And this time, of course, it took a while to reassure their families that they were not coming to a war zone, they would not be in danger. But then so these 30 children of the Petit Chanteur de Lyon came, and it was an amazing experience. And it's also thanks to that we then went to France to them the following year.
Do they all wear traditional dress or traditional uniform?
No, not traditional. We have, for the first 2 years, we have used some basic T-shirts of, since Amwaj means waves, of two sorts of blue, two shades of blue with the logo of Amwaj on them. Now we're starting to think of getting some more formal and more traditional, maybe embroidered uniforms. For now, they have either the colored T-shirts or black shirt and black trousers.
Can music touch someone's life?
Definitely, it can touch it, it can change it. And I guess my wife and I are the first people who can say that, and I hope our children will keep feeling that it's the same for them. Yeah.
If you have someone who can't sing, can you actually improve them and make them better singers?
Absolutely. And this has happened not only in Amwaj, but I mean, we have witnessed this over the last 3 years in Amwaj, in particular because our criteria for selection was exclusively that the children committed to 8 hours a week of tuition, of collective classes and so on. And there were quite a few who had, not all of them had never sung, but quite a few who really had very hard time singing at first. And a few months later, most of them were completely transformed and, discovering their possibilities and skills. Yeah.
Does being in a choir improve their confidence?
Definitely. Their confidence in themselves, their social relations. At first, the first winter camp we did, there were the Hebron children on one side, the Bethlehem children on the other. Then gradually they became friends, and now, I mean, they're inseparable and all feel very proud to be in the choir and amazed by all the things they're able to do. And yeah.
But they need to have a lot of dedication to the choir, don't they?
Definitely, but unlike when one studies a musical instrument, it doesn't require a big effort apart from when they are in rehearsal with the others. They don't have to practice at home for hours, and it's dedication, but towards something which is always a collective effort and a very pleasant effort. Although, I mean, the schedules and the classes that are organized by Mathilde, my wife, are very demanding, yes. So, I mean, we realize they're doing a very, very hard work, but I think they're very happy to do it. At least now they're completely convinced that it's worth it.
It's like one big family, really, isn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah. When you think of a choir, you think of a church setting. So is it like a church setting, or is it just completely different with music and everything?
A church setting in what sense?
Like traditional Christian music.
Well, I mean, of course, that's where it originates, at least in Europe. I mean, but our choir in particular is non-confessional. I mean, we don't, although we do some concerts in churches. For us, performing in churches is merely seeing the church as a performance space where the acoustic is lovely and it's easier to sing than in dry halls or open air. And of course, the repertoire will be some of it is inspired by the church tradition in the West. A lot of it is not from other cultures, but so I would say yes. At the origin of choir schools, there is the church, but not in the case of Amwaj, I would say.
Do you do special things for Christmas and Easter?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we're in much demand of Christmas repertoires and so on. I mean, we've been invited already for the past 3 years to do Christmas concerts, and which was very fun also to prepare, and because the children actually are from Hebron and villages around Bethlehem and refugee camps in Bethlehem. So the children are all Muslim. It happens to be like that. It was not a choice. It just happens to be for the areas where we teach, and it was quite fun for everybody, for them, for their families, for the Christian community in Bethlehem, to see a choir of Muslim children singing Christmas carols in the Nativity Church, for instance.
You're working very closely with children. Are you seeing them change their life and turning things around? And do you hear stories of how the choir has changed their life?
Yes, indeed, and I see it very much also in projection towards the future. We recently spoke with a few of them about how they would see the choir in 2025. what they imagine. So apart from, possible marriages between members of the choir and so on, but the involvement as teachers in the future of the children themselves. I mean, they've discovered possibilities which were not available until then.
Are you making a difference in the community?
I think so. At least, in the small circle that is around us, yes, definitely. And we're hoping to get this choir to inspire others and.
What's your hope for the future of the choir?
That the members of the choir feel it's an important experience for them, or it has been if they stop being in the choir, and that maybe more and more children will be able to join. Of course, we need to wait in order to do that, to expand the choir. We need to wait to have this generation become the next teachers of Amwaj.
Okay, Michele, thank you much.
Thank you.